Pokemon cards have a problem. We've got tons of influencers and people in the hobby talking about how Pokemon cards can only go up. Some of them are relating Pokemon cards to high end luxury goods like buying Bentleys, Rolexes, X, Y, and Z. But is it true that Pokemon cards really only skyrocket? That if you put everything you have into a little piece of cardboard, someday, if you hold it long enough, you'll be rich and happy and be able to buy all the things that you wish you could have? Or is it dangerous to kind of share rhetoric like that could really cause people to make unsafe and unwise decisions? That's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm also going to answer, I think, definitively about what the Pokemon Company, really thinks about the market. Because I think there's a lot of noise surrounding what Pokemon really thinks and whether or not they like the market that we're in. These are all super important things that we need to talk about that I want to encourage you, the viewer, to critically think about. Don't just take my word for it. Don't just take someone's word on the internet for it. Really critically analyze the data that you have, the information that we have at hand, and come to your own conclusions. And at the end of the day, your decisions are your responsibility. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to be painting today, okay? We're going to be drawing a picture to help definitively look at whether or not Pokemon Company likes the market the way it is, or if maybe they have a plan to address the issues in the market. My name is Matt. I'm with RAR TCG. I hope that you're having a fantastic day, and it would make my day if you hit that like button and comment down below. Liking and commenting is such a great way to help promote content creators that you really enjoy. Doing those actions, engaging with videos, helps promote our videos in the algorithm. So thank you to every single person that likes and comments on my videos. Even if you disagree with my takes here and you think that Pokemon is only skyrocketing from here on out, let me know why down below. I'd love to learn from your perspective what you think's going on, how you interpret the data, and then hit that dislike button as well. That's totally fine, totally cool. Let's go ahead and dive into this. Are Pokemon cards a luxury good like Bentleys and Rolexes? Short answer is no, but there's actually a more complex kind of answer here that we need to talk about, okay? The short answer is no. I do not think it's okay to apples, Bentleys, Rolexes, and Pokemon cards. These things are not all the same. Even in those three items, not all three items are correctly the same. There is a little caveat here, and it gets a little bit. Some people aren't gonna like this. This is what I'm trying to beat around the bush, but here's the deal: you're not gonna like this. Pokemon cards are a luxury good. That's gonna rub some people the wrong way, but here's what I mean: a luxury good is a non-essential good that people pay for with extra money. That is the definition of a luxury good. Yes, I know that YouTube content creators use that truth, that fact, and kind of like twist it and turn it into something it's not. We're not talking about buying a luxury sports card here. We're talking about buying packs of cardboard. But here's the deal: it's non essential to your life and therefore is classified as a luxury good, a non essential good that you can use your disposable money on at your discretion. Now, we love Pokemon cards. They bring a lot of joy to our lives. Whether you just love opening packs, you're looking for top hits, you're trying to fill out binders, trying to collect all of your favorite Pokemon, or if you're just like, the evil investor type in the background having a crazy sealed collection that you hope is going to go up in value one day. All of that is wonderful. It's all great to be part of the hobby in those ways. But here is the truth that I think a lot of people share parts of the story, but they don't really talk about the whole story. So when people are relating Pokemon cards to high-end luxury goods like sports cards and watches, what they're doing is they're only giving you half of the picture, okay? They're talking about Pokemon cards that have gone out of print, that are truly more rare and scarce, and we're talking about first edition base set. We're talking about some vintage cards. We're talking about the Moonbreon. We're talking about Sword and Shield about to truly become more and more scarce, more and more sought after, more and more luxury and high end. Now, the people and the content creators talking about this, they leave out the fact that the Pokemon Company, has windows of time where they are actively printing product and they are incentivized to print that product to make their money. Once the product is done being printed, everything is captured in the secondary market. As soon as all of the distributors, Pokemon Company itself sells out, it's all in the hands of the secondary market, and the market goes crazy, and the market does the market things. But up until that point, Pokemon is highly regulating and controlling the first party market, okay, the first hand market, which is what they directly have control of and is what we're going to paint a picture of. The reason I'm kind of pivoting to the kind of second half of this video here, Pokemon is I do not think that Pokemon is super satisfied with the way the market's going. Can Are they selling out of products? Yes. Is that good for them? Are they maximizing their profits? I think that that's the key that we're not too sure about. Because the truth is that if Pokemon could print more product, they would make more money. Okay, we're not talking about going back and printing Sword and Shield. We're not talking about going back and printing more, unlimited base set or anything crazy like that. We're talking about in print, in demand sets used in the TCG, in the trading card game. All of these little widgets and pieces of the puzzle that Pokemon is directly incentivized to keep going and keep the wheel turning. Pokemon has a dilemma right now, which is they have not been able to print to meet demand. Of course, we're talking about a TCG. So I'm not saying they're going to print to the ground. They're not going to blow up the, they're not going to blow up the scene with just so much product that people don't know what to do with. There is a fine line that a company obviously has to walk when it comes to demand versus supply. But we do know that Pokemon is leaving money on the table. And this is how I want to diagram it for us today. So let's switch over to our paint scene here. I'm really excited about using Paint today. It's one of my favorite apps. So let's go ahead and look at this. So what we're going to illustrate here is we got some rectangles. I'm really good at rectangles. We're going to use straight lines, rectangles, and maybe an arrow, okay? So up at the top here, we've got the Pokemon Center, okay? This is Pokemon Company International here. The Pokemon Company, okay? So the Pokemon Company's here. This is, this is them right here. It looks like maybe my select tool. Boom. We're riding with it. We're not editing this video. This is fine. This is totally fine, okay? This is a Pokemon Company, okay? They release product, okay? There's three main parts that they release product to, and that's what we're going to look at today. So what are these other rectangles going to be? Well, we've got three rectangles here, which are all super important. And this piece of the puzzle is exactly what we're going to look at here, okay? I need this arrow to go the other way. I used the wrong arrow, guys. Sorry. This right here, this piece of the puzzle is what's so important to understand. But before we get there, let's label, okay? So first up, we have retail. We have big box. Not bib box, but big box. So big box is up first. Big box is going to be our first rectangle here. Gonna drop down here. Up next is going to be we're not on our typing thing. Is DTC. This is direct to consumer. Very important piece of the puzzle for Pokemon Company. And then the last piece of it are the distributors. Okay? So these are the three pieces of the puzzle that we want to look at here. And of course, within the distributor structure, you could obviously, all of these are going to branch out further. So distributors are going to distribute to typically LGSs here. And then this is the consumer already. So we're going to do a little bit longer one. And then big box is selling direct to consumer as well. Well, as close as direct to consumer as we can get. And then, okay, so distributors have one extra little rectangle here, and these are our wonderful LGSs. And no, I'm not talking about GameStop here. I'm talking about the real LGSs out there, not the cosplay ones, okay? And then after the LGSs get theirs, this is going to come down here, and then we've got one last piece of the puzzle. This is way too big. That's fine. So this last rectangle is going to be the magical secondary market, okay? This is where cards go to thrive, to win, all of that good stuff. So, what are we looking at here? Well, this is super important for us to kind of realize. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise this up so you guys can see my beautiful art here. Of course, of course. And as you can see, I'm a super professional streamer, obviously, as you can see. Oh my gosh. So, what are we looking at? Well, honestly, this is the secret sauce. This is why the Pokemon Company is not satisfied with the current state of the market. Let's break it down. What you need to do is follow the money. Okay? A lot of content creators, when they talk about the secondary market, they talk about how good this is for Pokemon, how it can only go up from here. What piece of the puzzle are they looking at? Okay? They are typically making statements based off of, I hate that green. I can't use that green. There's no way. Blue. They're making statements based off of the secondary market. Okay. They're looking at secondary market prices for cards and products and sealed products. And they're saying, isn't this wonderful? Look at these elevated prices for these things that we love. It can only go up from here. Literally, this is the best, most wonderful time for Pokemon ever. Rocket emojis, green arrows up, okay? How could Pokemon Company be mad at this when they're selling out a product? Look at the secondary market, how strong it is. Pokemon is super happy with their product. I do not think that's the entire picture. And that really comes down to this arrow right here that we're going to color red. This piece of the puzzle, okay? This piece of the puzzle right here, this is where Pokemon makes their money. Let's set in. This piece right here is where Pokemon makes their money. As soon as product makes its way to big box, direct to consumer, or to distributors, Pokemon isn't directly part of the equation and part of the profits anymore. Pokemon Company creates the product and they sell it in different channels and avenues to make their money. And then that product is distributed and sold to consumers in different avenues. From there, a secondary market is established because of the demand of the luxury good. The demand of the good establishes and demands a secondary place or marketplace for things to be bought and sold. This is totally normal. Secondary market is not bad. That's not what this video is about. This video is the definitive, in my opinion, proof of why Pokemon Company is not super satisfied with what's happening. Because what's happening is they print to max capacity of what they have. It all sells out at these established prices. They're the direct to consumer prices, big box prices, and distribution prices. Yes, they make profit on all three of those transactions. But from there, the product is distributed to the secondary market and then is marked up so much. I understand that we're in a corrected market right now, that prices are down a little bit. But listen, if Pokemon Company could have adjusted to the demand earlier, which is saying a lot for a multi-billion-dollar like franchise and company, it's hard. It's not feasible for them to pivot on like a dime, right? It takes planning, it takes structure, and all of that infrastructure to make it happen. But the truth is that Pokemon makes their money right here in the middle. Okay. This are you picking up what I'm putting down right now? This is the definitive proof why Pokemon Company is not satisfied with what's happening here in this secondary market piece. They don't control that piece. Do they want their cards and their product to be desirable? Yes. Do they want their cards and their product to be valuable? Yes. But not likely in their established print windows. The windows of time that they have set for themselves. Only Pokemon Company makes the rules. Why are most sets only in print for 2 years? Because Pokemon decided that. Okay? This isn't some like It wasn't written on a stone tablet, okay? Like Pokemon Company makes the rules and they can change the rules whenever they see fit. There's no one outside of the Pokemon Company making the rules. If they change the rules drastically, will that impact the stability of this? Yes. And could that be negative? Absolutely. So is Pokemon going to make some crazy move they've never done before and reprint Evolving Skies? Probably not. But is Pokemon going to capitalize on the like dollars, millions of dollars that they're leaving on the table because they haven't been able to meet demand with how much they're printing? I think absolutely. Now, it's only been a waiting game. I think that's one thing that a lot of people like kind of skip out on and don't share the full story about. It's always been a waiting game for whenever Pokemon Company decides or is able to up their printing, up their capacity. As I said, very large corporation with a ton of moving parts, very corporate. It takes a lot of decisions to be made, to be approved, to be signed off on, for people to be hired and trained, for things to clear out of certain queues and open up other avenues and doors. It takes a lot of moving pieces for a company the size of the Pokemon Company to really start making moves in ways that would significantly impact the secondary market down here. But the further out we get from the initial boom, which is Surging Sparks into Prismatic Evolutions, the closer and closer we get to what I will say the tipping point is. For months now, I've been saying that the market is on thin ice. We've consistently seen Pokemon increase print runs of specific products and SKUs, typically collection boxes. And what I personally think that they are doing, honestly, is I think that they are building a kind of a I think it's this beautiful thing. They are getting ready for the biggest juke of all time. Okay, they are building consumer trust and habits based around their current printing, their current patterns that they're doing with their printing. So let me break it down for you. I think some of you probably do pick up what I'm putting down, but I really want to get to this. Okay, so for the last 6 months plus 6 plus months, Pokemon Company has not printed booster boxes in a significant way. They have focused on things like ETB bundles with Costco, Sam's Club. They focus on ancillary products like collection boxes, those 10-pack boxes with the just huge boxes with all the packs in them, and a couple EXs cards and a jumbo card. They focus on bundles. They focus on all this ancillary products, which has built this consumer behavior to pay more than people should on booster boxes, with the assumption that they will not print booster boxes moving forward. That is crazy. I said it earlier. The Pokemon Company makes the rules. Okay? There's nothing saying that they can't print booster boxes. In fact, they will print more booster boxes. Now, you can make a bet. You can call Pokemon's bluff with any set you want to. You want to call their bluff with Destined Rivals? Go for it. You want to call their bluff with Surging Sparks? Go for it. Journey Together? Like, you can call their bluff wherever you want to. That's totally fine. But I promise you that Pokemon Company has the ability to do it. Okay? I'm using words like promise. I'm not guaranteeing anything, okay? But I promise you that Pokemon Company has the ability and the capacity to print more booster boxes. And if you have been overly bearish or bullish, if you've been overly bullish and buying tons of newer booster boxes, that is a risk that you're taking for your personal investments or for your personal business, okay? It's okay to take risks. And if you believe in a play, go for it. There's a lot of influencers that really, really believe in Destined Rivals as being the best box of the era. If that's your case, if you believe Destiny Rivals is the best box of the era, then you don't have any problems buying it at 400, 350, 3 whatever it's going for now with the correction. You don't have a problem with that because you're going to hold it for 2 4 years and see that, based off of your current beliefs and your confidence, you're believing that that's going to be the next Evolving Skies and it's going to be a multi-thousand-dollar box. So who cares if your entry price was 400 or 350? You're in it. You've got it secured. You've got the piece. You got the item that you believe in. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. You can take risks and make moves wherever you want to. That's totally fine. This is not a video to discourage people doing that. But I do want to say that if you are making irrational decisions, if you are taking excessive risk in newer modern sets, I'm talking Surging Sparks forward, then I would be very cautious moving forward, okay? Be very cautious moving forward with how much money you're deploying in newer sets. I started this video talking about how Pokemon cards are luxury good, but it's not quite fair to relate a Pokemon card to a Bentley or to a luxury watch, okay? That I believe is true. There are influencers out there that craft a narrative that is always right, okay? I think Nostalgianomics actually does a really great job of this. If you listen very carefully and closely to what Alex says, yes, his takes are very in your face. Yes, his takes are I don't agree with all of them. Sometimes they're kind of crazy. But if you truly listen to the before, the during, and the after of what he's saying, he's not necessarily wrong. He'll make a crazy statement like Pokemon only goes up and then clarify it with the fact that he's talking about older sets. And then he'll go on to say, oh, you're crazy if you think they're going to print more Paldea Evolved and Paradox Rifts and Temporal Forces and Scarlet and Violet Base. You're going to wake up a year from now and be like, oh man, I missed out. They were going to print more. No one's saying that, bro. I like Alex. I like his content, okay? But no one's saying that. Okay? At least no one I watch. Let me correct myself. Maybe people are out there saying it. My bad. It's probably true. What I hear from the content creators I follow, more level-headed people, are always saying that newer boxes are the most risky. And in fact, we're starting to see it, guys. I'm getting requested to buy more and more collections now. And consumer behavior right now is still demanding that you buy at a certain percentage. But if you're a business out there, I want you to be very cautious when purchasing collections at 80-85%, okay? Be very careful, especially if you primarily sell on a marketplace like eBay or TCG Player. You have to factor in whatever fees you have. For me, I sell much more bulk, so my fees are typically higher at like 17-18% on some things. If you sell higher end stuff, your fees are going to be closer to that 12 to 14% like TCG Player advertises. It's all dependent on the type of products and cards that you sell. But listen, if you have a 14% fee and you buy at 80%, where is your margin? Okay? 14% is immediately put into the pockets of TCG Player, which is totally fine. And then you have a 6% profit margin to work with there. If you bought at 80%. 6% profit margin. But then remember, you got to ship that bad boy. You got to ship that card. You got to ship that collection. How much does that eat into your profit margins? What percentage is that? You know what I mean? So just be careful proceeding in this market. A lot of people right now want to sell their collections at whatever top dollar amount they want. And my recommendation for you guys is to be very cautious and very by the numbers. The data is the data. Be very by the numbers when you're buying stuff right now. Really look at the sell-through rate of cards. Look at lowest listings. For so long in the bull market, we've been looking at market price. But listen, as the market corrects, sales volume will decline as prices reduce. Okay, so if you come to a card that the sales volume has reduced, the price is actively declining, you do not offer a percentage of market price. You should consider offering a percentage of the lowest listing. Those two things are going to be similar, but I promise you, you'll be much better off looking and reviewing lowest listing, comping at lowest listing for lower sales volume cards, especially in a declining market like we are. Will this cause you to not buy as many cards and products? Probably in the short term. But again, as I said, consumer behavior and consumer kind of patterns that they've been following is changing rapidly. Okay, people are holding on to collection boxes, collections, cards that they maybe 3 weeks ago thought were only going up, and now they've corrected, and it looks like we're going to stay in this zone for a little bit longer. So it's going to cause people to do some interesting things, and it's going to take a little bit of time for consumer behavior and everything to update and adjust with a softer or declining market. Okay, that's all I got to say. Is Pokemon crashing? No, we're good. Is the Pokemon Company happy with the current state of things for the last year? I think 100% no, they're not happy because there has been money left on the table. We can see that so clearly by the existence of scalpers. If there was not 200 to 300% margin on the table for the last like 8 months, because Pokemon Company had the ability to print to close to demand, we would not have scalpers. Okay, it wouldn't have happened. But no one can predict the market. No one can predict the secondary market demand. Not even Pokemon Company. Earlier I said they make the rules. They 100% hold the rule book on how much is printed, what cards are printed, what the arts are, what the release schedule is. They hold all the rules. But demand swings the market to and from different cycles. And that is what you and I, whether you're a reseller or a collector or an investor, that's what we need to study. Okay, especially if this is your first like bull cycle that you're experiencing and coming into it. Instead of reacting emotionally, study it. Okay, listen to people that have been through it before. Okay, man, there's so much to learn right now. Am I an expert? I probably talk very confidently because that's what I do. But no, I'm not an expert. I'm learning. Could I be wrong on some of my takes? Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys for the next video. It looks like I hit my table. My camera's kind of shaking. Whoa. Anyways, we've gone long enough. I'll let you guys go. I'll see you for the next one. Peace, everyone.